Mark Meldrum Monster Garage, and we got Richard Doyle, and he grabbed his assembly line tools, and he's going to work on the car today. So here it is, coming down the line, just like it was in 1970.
Mark, is this the car you need your door adjusted?
Yeah, let's adjust the door.
Let's go ahead and take it off.
Go ahead. I'm sure Paul will appreciate that.
I've dropped a couple of them, but I have never scratched your paint. This tool allows me not to scratch your paint.
So look at that.
See how it is, Mark?
I got to come around here.
Don't blame me for any scratching.
So look at that. Look at how it's bent. And we spent hours adjusting these doors. And you did it in how many seconds?
I did it. They allowed me 56 seconds to adjust it.
Wow, that's just crazy. All right.
But I did 60 an hour, so
60 an hour.
I got used to doing it right.
And how many cars a day?
We did 480 a shift.
Yep. Okay.
960 a day.
All right. Well, I appreciate you building this car.
Okay. I left the family business that was making $1.25 an hour, along with my brother, electrical business. To go to work for General Motors, I made $2.85 after 90 days, more than double my salary. I know it doesn't sound like much, but last year I bought this soda from McDonald's. In 1965, I went and got a soda out of the soda machine for a nickel. This is what you would have got in 1965. This cup. And believe me, I don't think I drank it all. So when I got hired on, they were hiring 100 people at a time because the Baltimore plant started in 1935. So in 1965, older men got their time in and they could start retiring. So it was a big mass hiring of people. And they were bringing us in at 100 people at a time. And when he brought you in, we all stayed in a meeting room, and when the foremen from the different departments came, they came to look you over. The tall guys, he wanted you in the pit. The big guys, you went to the bottom shop, they pick up the metal, chassis line, they fix springs and control all of it. Skinny guy like me at 125 pounds, I was lucky. I went to the trim line and I went on the IP line, which was the instrument panel. On the instrument panel. And I was used to being on my feet all day, so I was good to go. I could take it, so to speak. But when I started on there, we were building 1 a minute, 60 an hour. They gave you 57 to 58 seconds, and it always moved. The line never stopped. So as you're working, you had to keep backing up with it. So he put the wiper hoses in, put it up through the 2 holes, pulled it up, put the clip on the cow, because the 1 hose took a clip on the driver's side. Put the big hose, draped it over a clip. He went around the side, picked up a gun and the door sill, and he shot the 4 screws with the door sill. The door sill, if you look at it, has been doubled. When it was new, they went up like this. So he had to turn his gun upside down and bend it in place and make sure the carpet wasn't sticking out. The carpet was, before he shot it down, he had to adjust the carpet. 57 seconds. And he was lucky. If you had to get in the job, try to get in the job 60 an hour, your legs, your knees, everything gave out on it until you got accustomed to it. The poor guys went to the pit. This is what you did all day with the CP guns. You went to the body shop, that was one shift. The spot welds spitting all over you. Oh, it was terrible. But I was never in the body shop. But I couldn't believe it. So what I want to say is, and I'll leave the best for the last. Out of 100, by the end of the week, if it was 5 or 10 people left, they were lucky. Usually you can see the guy comes, he's showing him what to do, and when he does this, he says, well, there he goes. Out the door he go, man. Then he would say, you gotta be kidding. Oh. But hey, they weren't kidding. They gave you 3 days around the job to do it on your own. If you couldn't, out the front door you went. When you got fired, they put you out the front door. They didn't parade you through the plant. They didn't want people to really realize what you're in for. So, the last job that you didn't want to go was paint department. I worked in a paint department for 4 years in 1980. We have a massive cut down. And I was in material there, so I got cut back in the paint department. So I knew what I was getting into, but I'll tell you what I did get into. I had to come in on day shift and met the guy, trained him. He gave me a set of coveralls, masking tape, a jar of Vaseline, a hat. And as we're walking down, he said, when you come by this, when you put the steering wheels in and all, Carl, get this empty box, cardboard box. Okay? Get the box. Going down. First thing I noticed, in the paint department, they always had guardrails around the brake area, so the hollow or something don't catch it. They had a water fountain, they had benches. But in the paint department, they had the guardrails, the water fountain, but no benches. Okay. So, you get there, it takes me over to a barrel of 55 drum of grease. He takes that, puts it in the box. So he shows me how to get the coveralls, tape everything up, tape this, hat, put the Vaseline all over my face. I'm saying my prayers, believe it. I got 15 years and I can't go get the door to hit me in the butt, you know? So, going in, he said, get your box, boy. Take the box in, open the door, go in the spray booth. Weights on the floor, water coming down on each side. And as we went through, there was the oven. And the whole door was open, so the heat was poof. Oh, Lord. So throw the box down, and he gets in it, kicks all four corners down, and he's doing this with his feet. He gives you to get plenty of grease on your shoes. He said, if you don't, the spray, you had to spray it when every job was basically a different color. They never ran it all red, all white, what people think. It was just the way it was. So when you shot a red job, the next was white. You had to take your gun and blow out the red so the white comes out. Where's it go? It's 6 to the grate. The grease will keep you from sticking and pulling your shoes apart. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. So I had to paint the door checks. That's the door frame. As I'm painting the job, I did the passenger side. As I'm painting the guy on the driver's side, he's painting his and he's painting me. It was the craziest thing you ever could dream of. Unbelievable. When I would go home, well, I had to learn how to take the coveralls off because it was all full of that overspray. The reason they didn't have benches, had I sat down, I wouldn't have been able to get up. Two floors right off of me. So, 4 years of that. Unbelievable.
Good respirators?
No.
No?
No. I'd go home, first thing I'd do is get in the shower. I hate to say it.
Oh, your nose.
All my nose.
Oh.
Unbelievable.
Oh.
That's lacquer? Lacquer?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like I said, 15 years, what are you going to do?
No, right.
So, anyway, I survived. I made 25 cents more an hour.
25 cents.
In the paint department.
$2 a day.
When I started on the line, I was an assembler, but I worked my way up to nickel man. So you were called nickel man. A nickel man's job, after a year, I made nickel man. If you were out, I had to do your job. But I had to do your job just as good as you did. If they didn't put you on it to do it, the nickel man. And I learned to do it. And the reason why I took nickel man is because every Friday, everybody's in. Payday. Everybody's going to scratch for payday. So they sent me out back driving. And as a young 18-year-old, man, I'm driving super sports, GTOs. Unbelievable. So, but then, from nickel man, I made a repairman on the trim line. And I would only stay there like 6 months. And I was supposed to repair everything that needed to be. And we would always have a run of bad light bulbs. And this was 1970. So in 4 minutes, I had to take that IP pad off, somehow get in there and get that high beam bulb out, put a fresh bulb and put it in there. So at that time, I'm down here ready to go over the body drop. So when I get out the next job, that had a list like that I had to do. Finally, I got so frustrated, I started punching it like I did it. And I lasted about 3 weeks. 20 weeks, he was the general foreman, he caught on. But he wanted me out the front door. So I put it for material, which anybody could have gotten. If you worked on the line, model change for 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 weeks, you got paid vacation. if you were in material, you had to walk all year long. So nobody wanted to go to material, so I went in with what they call a line field, put the material on the line. And talk about material, people talk about dates and all. To me, if your part was made before your car, I don't care if it's 4 months later or before, it's good to go. Nothing was rotated. When you rent the bay, when the train come in with the alternators and starters, everything went right in front of the others. At the end of the bottle, we still pulling them old baskets out. They had dust on it that thick. The sanitation guys would blow everything off. But you see, the date was 5 months before. You're good to go. Don't worry about it.
Right.
No matter what the expert are telling you.
That's all.
If you're in the dates of your car, don't forget your handbook. Your handbook says first, second, or third edition. So if you're in the dates and you want to check your handbook, what do you have? Okay.
So first edition being like a
Just
September.
3 months, yeah.
Is that when they started?
But then again, we never rotated, so you were lucky.
Oh.
If you got a handbook, we were ready to go with it. We didn't care.
Right,
We didn't care. And I always tell people, General Motors had a certain way of doing things. And I'll say this to you. If it was black, like on the firewall, the wire loom is black, you use black screws. You didn't use calibrated plated. You clip the hose and wiper hose, black, you use black screws. The the floor consoles had black trim around it. Don't use chrome, you use black screws. General Motors had your coil. The 293. General Motors wanted that coil where you could almost get a good half to 3/4 of an inch off your intake manifold. They were a stickler for this. They also, when we put the coil on, the positive had to face the firewall. How many times do you try to find out when you want to hook your drum meter up where's the positive? Well, GM dealer, he wanted that so his men didn't have to climb in the car and look see where it is.
Right.
Positive faces the firewall,
Low that.
get your coil off the intake manifold. Even with here. That was GM flag.
That's for the heat.
That's for the heat.
Yeah, raise it up.
Yeah. See, the dealers had a hotline to the plant. So when something happened that wasn't right, that should have been, they would call and raise Cain about it. Because they were paid next to nothing to fix what we should have done right.
Right.
They were paid.
Oh.
And also when you got hired, you got 3 handbooks. And you had to study them because if anything happened, at the front door they sent you. They didn't fool around with you. So. Yeah. I got a bulldog, big guy, nice guy. He'd asked at lunchtime, and he put batteries in. And he worked in the service station with his dad. He probably put a battery in every month. He was doing 60 an hour. He didn't even last a half hour. He put his hands on his hips and there he went. It was always a mass influx that hit the door. And it wasn't funny, but it was funny at the time. Because you knew if the guy was going to stay or if he wasn't. If he does this, he's finished. That's his thing that I'm out of here, man. So, and last, when I retired in 1995, GM gives me a clock. Very nice clock. The union gave me a made in Taiwan. Come on.
Oh my goodness, man.
License plate.
No kid.
Nice of them.
Oh.
I can't remember I paid union dues. I paid on it for that damn thing. There's a picture of me getting my clock. And
Oh, that's cool.
this was the plant manager. This was the superintendent of material. And this was my foreman.
Wow.
We also had all open house. And employees could put their cars in. This is some of them aren't dated. But I have a Corvette. I put that in. I used to always put my Chevelle in. And you talk about the time. I had that orange convertible in '69. I bought it in 1980. I paid $3,600 for it. It wasn't no big deal. My 2 daughters took it to high school. It was nothing. It was just a regular car.
Right.
But 1988 or somewhere, I realized I got something, so I took it away from the kids. I bought parts. If your neighbor came home with a part on the car and he's showing everybody, you could have landed a deal on an inch of block here, Jim would sell you one. When the stoplight came out on the car, everybody wanted a stoplight on there. Sure. Go to GM and do something. Put it up your back window, screw it down, and you're good to go with your stoplight.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Even back then.
If you take a photo, these are door locks, GM. Your seat belts, you know how they hang in your back seat? GM supplied this box with a screw up under your seat, and your seat belt would clip into it. It wouldn't be flopping around. Very nice option.
Yeah.
I never put one in mine.
I didn't say those. My fake station light.
Yeah.
Hey, Rich, I had a question for you. You always hear the term, oh, you either got a Monday or a Friday car. Is that true?
Well, it could be because everyone was in there on Friday and you knew what they were doing. So it could be a little bit of truth to it.
A little truth to it.
And the coffee man, he always went this way, and he always came this way because he didn't follow the same job. That's
About that. Okay. Often wondered about something.
John Howard, hey, no one's supposed to be on that power. The guy driving, he turns away and pulls the gun out, and bang, shoots over Trump's head. So they figured out what was going on. These guards were letting their friends in and still on the
Oh my.
big stuff. Motors, transmissions, and pickup trucks. So, you have to be on your guard.
That's pretty cool.
But it was, I made a lot of money. At that time, we were working 10-hour, 6-day weeks, and we couldn't keep up with the supply and the demand. The motors would come in full of rock. They would always come in by train, but we were so far behind, Tonawanda plant was shipping by truck. And the ZL1s, whatever the Chevelles had, they did 200 and some. They came on a Thursday, individually wrapped up on a pallet. And we ran them on the Saturday and Friday, which was good for me. When they came to the end of the line, I got to drive somehow. And it had the Muncie in it. And I hate to tell you, man, if you got one, I was probably the one to mess your Muncie up. Because I couldn't shift it up. But when they ran them, they always put a guard, because we had the driver from out back all the way up to Ankle Freight. Man, we could really get him going. But they'd always put a guard out there, and he'd go like this to you. And if you didn't listen to him, he'd pull you on the side and rip you a new one and say, hey, that car can kill you, son. I didn't know it now, but I know it now. But
Right.
he could have.
Yeah.
There was always stuff going on. I'll tell you, we had the bookie, Lonnie, he was the lawn shark. He had his friend Lucky as protection. He'd be always at the plant gate in the morning. If you need a $1, he'd give you a $1 right in the book. On Friday, you give him $1.10 back. You make 10 cents off. As a young kid, I said, what the heck is going on here? Monday morning, the same guy needs another $1. Come in one morning, his chalkboards and all in the parking lot. What the heck happened? A whole bunch of guys. Lucky, his sidekick, it was his protection, and Lonnie got into it. Lucky shoots and kills him.
Holy.
In the parking lot. That was in the line, and Lonnie was a heck of a nice
Oh
guy.
my God.
And now, first time we went to the union meeting, 18 years old, never experienced nothing like that. My family was petrified of a union, wasn't it? I'm here sitting in a union meeting because there were 7,100 people walking at the bar with blue collars. So here we all jammed in the union hall. And the president's up there with about 6, I call them henchmen, but I would never say that to them. I wouldn't be here today. So anyway, I hear someone, Mr. President, guy way in the back. He said, I'd like to make a motion that you call a tow truck and get them damn foreign cars off the lot. Now this is 1966, there wasn't no foreign cars. But what it was to do is to put the fear of God on us young people. And believe me, I saw it in my pants before I got out of there. I was scared to death of what I was into. Because you know, you heard about the union.
Oh, yeah.
This is serious. But anyway, that union president, I'm trying to think of his name, I think it's too fast again. In 1971, they take him duck hunting. So you know when you go duck hunting, when you hear duck,
Yeah.
it's not this.
No.
Bang!
Right.
He gets up, the guy behind him blows his head.
Oh, no.
Killed him. And he was a scary dude, man. He had scars on his face.
You think that was a setup?
It wasn't so.
Yeah.
It wasn't so. They killed him, and I never heard anything happen or anything.
That
They
was
killed him.
an excuse.
A hunting accident.
Funny accident.
One
How
time,
convenient.
in the body shop, guy bought a car from another guy. The guy didn't like it. He wants his money back. I ain't giving you money back. You're crazy. Next night, they were doing night shift. Bang! Shoots him right on the floor. Right on the line. My friend Swally, he was a guard. He lived with a neighbor of mine. The guy went down and said, "Here, Swally." Swally thought the guy was going to kill him. He gave Swally the gun. He sat down right then he called the cops. And all this going on, don't stop that line, boy. The line kept on going. Dragged you all the way from the line.
Oh, my
That's where we laid dead.
Who took over for if somebody had to go to the bathroom?
Well, you might have went to the bathroom one time, but you trained your bowels to respond to your demands. That was it.
Just shit yourself. I'll take the blame.
Yeah.
No kidding.
And I was always scared. I'm not saying I messed myself. I ain't so crude. But I was always afraid to ask for somebody to let me go. You held on till you got a break or something. Then.
Oh, okay. All right. Whew. Wow.
They were tough on you. 7,100
Take a
people.
pistol, I don't take it. I know that.
7,100 people. They're not going to babysit you.
Yeah.
6 o'clock, you've got to be ready to roll, man. If you punched in 6 o'clock, you were considered 6 minutes late. Everything was 6 tenths. If you punched in 1 minute out, you were okay. So, it was... Huh? You know, when the women came in 1971, well, I'll tell you that. And the women, I'll tell you what, they were made to work on a 79. And I didn't know at the time, because I didn't know stuff like that, but they said they were always on dire pills. And boy, they were literally running from the parking lot. The parking lot was way up past that. And you had to come down the hill. And this is how smart General Motors was. And you figured this out after a while. The parking lot was right up on the hill. So you came down the hill to go in, so you're fresh. At the end of the shift, you had to talk up the hill, rain, snow, or sleet, to get to your car, and you were done more out because they took every ounce of sweat.
Yeah, right.
That's how good they were. I'll tell you a little funny story. Doing model change, we always had about 10 or 15,000 cars on the side because we didn't have all the material to ship them. Here comes the guy with the cart, had 4 tires and rims in it. He goes up, and the cars were in the foreman's parking lot. When he came back, he didn't have nothing. There was a woman going. She said, "Hey, where's the tires?" "Oh, put them on the car." She said, "Well, how'd the car get there to begin with?" He put them in his trunk, in the back seat of his car.
He was gone. How long was the line? How long was, you know,
It took 46 hours to build a car. 46 hours to build from start to body shop down.
Oh, okay. Oh, it was too close. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like I said, we built the Pontiac, GTOs, the Vans, Tempest, station wagons. We built the Buick Special, Buick Skylark, and the Grand Sport, the Chevelle El Caminos, station wagons, Super Sports, the Plain Janes. And they had a mix. Like we built, every 5th job was a station wagon.
Real.
Then a convertible, I can't remember, but maybe every 15th or 20th job would have been convertible.
Oh, no kidding.
Because if you did the convertible tops, it was 4 crews that did it. They were timed that they could do it and be right there for the next one. So,
Was the Monte Carlo on the same
Monte Carlo
line?
too. Believe me, that was one beautiful, heck of a car. And I was a young guy, like I said, 18. So at lunchtime, I'd sit in Super Sport or GTO or something. One time I was sitting in a Super Sport, and I see the guy walking down the line lunchtime, and he's looking. Well, long story short, I'm sitting in his car. He had ordered it, and he kind of looked at it, and he hollered to me, "Get out of my car, you crumb bum!" Wow. Unbelievable. Of all the cars I had to sit in with that
It
one.
was.
And like I say, on Fridays, the nickelmen, and one of the nickelmen, they always had a nickname for him. Mine was Whitey. The other guy I want to tell you about, his name was, we nicknamed him Road Warner, but he walked people with 90 miles an hour. So we were out there driving, Road Warner jumps a GTO Corolla, and he hits it. When they had flatbed trucks and all out there with different parts and all that, he fishtails and goes under the truck, rips the top back off of it. Well, so much for Road Runner, right?
Oh my.
What happened was that he didn't know it. He thought, man, I'm done. The union guy called his buddies and says, take the spring off the accelerator on the engine.
Oh.
So, Road Warner's tells us the story. The union guy said, I'm tired of this, these guys ruining these cars, blah, blah, blah. I want him fired. Road Warner, man, listen, my union guy's supposed to stand up for it. But the union guys said, look, let's give him the benefit of the doubt, let's go out and look at the car. He knew. So he goes down, he tells the guy, start the car up. Hey, the spring's off.
Oh.
We can't fire this man.
No way.
One got his tortillas in.
Covered up for him.
So,
Did you get to help build your own car if you ordered a car?
well, you could. You know, you could walk along with it. After I got out of the body shop, paint shop.
Gotcha.
And talking about paint shop, I know it's a sore subject, but let's talk about them. We'll write it on the firewall. Yes, paint code written on there, and the reason why it was written on there, if the regular operator wasn't there, the guy replacement, the trainer was right on the firewall because he didn't have enough time to go look at the build sheet and come back and switch his hose. The regular operator, he could see the number from 20 feet away.
Right.
But after it went through paint, we did the trunk, we did the firewall. If you touch that firewall, that trunk, out the front door you go. So these people writing this 136 and
Bonus.
no.
It wasn't like, you come off.
I'm with it. If you say you like it, I'm fine with it. But don't say this is the way it came.
Right. You did. Yeah. Got painted over.
Yeah.
How about that?
And of course, when it fades, it's going to show. Whenever if the paint coat or something.
Right.
But had you touched it afterwards,
How about
you
that?
were done.
All came down and he didn't have enough time to go look at the build sheet.
Yeah.
Right. So that sped it up.
But see, when it came down the line after paint and body shop, we had two build sheets, one on each window, one in the front. We had, trying to figure out one again I was telling you about. We had another schedule.
Body broadcast sheet. The broadcast sheet.
Well, yeah. And it would mark if you took a floor console, 4-speed, non-console. If you took a tack, so you could drill the tack wire. It did set up an air conditioner because you could see the big opening instead of a heater air conditioner. But we had to drill for the grommets for the vacuum lines. But you can see that as it's coming. Because they didn't allow you to go look at the build sheet and come back and get your part. That was on you.
Right.
We used to say, get your roller skates on. If you couldn't see it, that's what happened to my blowout. They didn't tell him it was air conditioned, it took a heavy duty battery off automatic. So he would walk up, run back and get the battery. And he was running with his head chopped off. But after you did it for a couple of weeks, you realize the cheapie ain't going to take a heavy duty battery, so you just took the regular battery and put it in.
Right.
And when you put it in, you can see that you got the right battery.
Right. How about that? Just to add a quick little note to one of your stories about the line. My dad worked there for, I want to say, 5 months. Then they went to Bethlehem Steel. But when Dad was there, and this would have been probably, Dad was born in 27. 37, so maybe somewhere around 45 to 47. Because when my dad came to Baltimore, Pennsylvania, he said that they wanted to put a dipstick in. He had a couple little things he had to do. The man with the chart was watching them all.
That's the time started.
And then a week later, he had 2 more things he had time to do. Then he was like, they started doing that more and more. He said pretty soon,
He's seen you scratching your butt.
50-some seconds out of a minute, he was busy doing something. They went to Bethlehem Steel, made $2 more an hour back then. It didn't turn out that way years later. Your retirement was better than my dad's, but
And after a while, after a couple of years, if you looked at the guy, you could always tell what department it was. The cushion room, you had hog ring scars all over your arm.
Oh, no.
And you would hold the seat like this, and the seat would rip, and whenever it hit something, it automatically hog ring. I can still hear him now, screaming and howling, running down to the hospital with hog rings. If you're in the chassis and whatnot, when you bolted the cross members and stuff down, you better not have your fingers in it. If you did, you came back with a stump. I can't tell you how many people retired with stumps. Material, like I was, all kinds of scars. Material guy was supposed to use a butter knife, but they could sneak in a razor knife. The biggest mistake I ever made. How many times I got caught with a razor knife? A butter knife wouldn't touch you.
No.
I want to show you a few things that I learned. If you have a 70 Chevelle, if you got electrical problems,
I need that.
not this one. You gotta watch when you change your speakers on each side. It took real short screws, I call them screws, but the 5/16. So if you change speakers and you put your own screws in, that long screw, because your dash is going to bounce, it's going to cut this, and it's going to drive you crazy. That you know a guy that knows what he's doing. This car had all kinds of grounds, didn't it? And they still didn't fix it. I knew what it was as soon as I took the dash off. I don't brag, but you know, the long screw.
Yes.
I don't know if you realize how much your dash vibrates when you drive it. Huh? Driver's side, yes.
Right.
It's also,
Speakers, just got one speaker to send you every day.
Right.
But it's got two speakers.
and also in the 70 is your plug that plugs into that. But after a while, it starts bouncing around. You can tell, and this will drive you crazy because nobody will figure this out. If you put your blinker on the left, the right flashes.
That sounds
This
familiar.
happened to this guy. Who's going to know that?
You.
I know it. I fixed it for him. Not that I'm bragging. I'm just trying to tell
No.
you. That's what you can look
That's
for.
that's
Another thing I will tell you.
experience here.
When you put your gas tank in, watch your Chinese 9/16ths. You need one with a shoulder on it so you can tighten it. If you don't have the shoulder, that bolt or nut will go all the way down and you're thinking you're tightening it. If you don't believe me, ask Tom Ryder. He's at the racetrack. The gas tank is on. This is what we double checked and tightened it. You can see the shoulder.
Yep.
Be careful.
How about that?
The gas tank.
That's all. Wow.
This crazy thing was to change the doors. Careful off with that chip in the paint. This thing was for the clips.
Keep it from spinning. Yep. That's all.
Anybody have any questions?
When the engines came in, how complete were they?
Excuse me?
When the engines came in from Talawanda, how complete were they?
Well, they didn't have the carburetor, they had the head, the intake on. We did basically everything on all the brackets. You know, fuel pump, rod, and
Water pump? Water pump?
Water pump was on there. Yeah, exhaust manifolds were on there. Also about what general motor we did by is grease. We greased a little plastic shim on the brake and clutch when we put that in. We greased the rod for the fuel pump, mainly to hold it in. So you can put the fuel pump on the brake. But also, we were supposed to, but they could never tell if we did or not. We were supposed to dip the taillight bulb and the front tail slinger light bulbs in the yellow grease. And also, the connections under the hood for the turn signals were supposed to have a little yellow grease on it. And the foreman every morning, he was just wasting his breath. He'd come by, don't forget the grease, fellas. I'm like, yeah, boss. I didn't have time to grease it, so how am I going to grease it? You know? And he knew it. But see, it was something they couldn't tell.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Can't see it.
Can't see that.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
yeah, right.
The radios, we were supposed to tweak it on 1400 or something. We had a buzzer to put on it. We had the electrical, when they did the electrical test, that guy was supposed to put this thing on top of the speaker. And you did the little sun screw in there. When it went to the highs and started coming down, that was the highest clicking station. I can tell you now, it was never peaked. So you won't peak it.
Right, right.
Well, General Motors only had 2 shifts. We ran 10-hour days because we were all on actually 2 floors. We had 3, and the paint was on the 3rd floor. But we had so much trash, so much everything. Even to put the cars, get the box cars unloaded, we could only do 2 shifts. It took them forever at night just to get all the trash out. You couldn't run gondolas and all down the aisle because the material was there. He was driving the hollow, trying to get the material on the line. Like you say, $2.84. I was in second heaven. When I was 20 years old, I bought a house. When I worked all the overtime and I rent the material, I could work 7 days a week. And everybody knows that's how you make major money in the blue collar overtime. Oh, I want to tell you, General Motors and the union, they love to get stuff out. You barbecue whiting? Yeah, barbecue. Here, take this. 50 years. We also built pickup trucks. Somehow we got an award for this. They always played one plan against the other. And they would come in, we got too many people, and they would cut heads. Any way they could, they would touch them. It's unbelievable. You had to do it. All kinds of crazy stuff went on in the plant. I mean, I can't begin to tell you that. One thing we all did like was, in vacation time, the boss's kids would always go to sanitation for material. They should have been put on the line like us and know what it was like. Oh, yeah, right. And the kids driving a hollow, you should never put a young person driving a hollow. They had all kinds of accidents, falling in the train, well, it's just unbelievable. They didn't care.
Well, that's reference of a friend of mine. His dad retired from the paint department down there, Joe Mims. He was a foreman down there way before you.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, he may have been there when you started, but they gave him a gold clock spun like a pencil, and it spun in it. And I'll never forget it, Dave. So look what my dad got when he retired with 30
I think I got my name somewhere.
It's funny, yeah, I think his name was on his too. So they clocks must have been the thing, you know.
If you want to talk about the pilot job real quick, a lot of people talk about pilot jobs. This is the problem with the pilot jobs that people don't realize it. In 1968, let's say in January, it's only about 4 or 5 months into the model of 68, they start building the 69. No trim tag, no nothing. Right, it took 2 months to get out of body shop before it went to paint. Paint was usually no problem. Then it came over to trim. But everybody says, I got a pilot job. Well, I'm going to tell you now, you didn't want no pilot job. We took hammers to beat on it, and that pilot job was ran. The people that made the part, they were with us. Now, people at the plant, nickel man, I used to follow it. And to give you an example, what they were looking for was, in 69, when that plastic dash came out, when the guy snatched it off the conveyor, like he would always do, it snapped in half. And you think, man, that's the end of him. No, that's what they're looking for. They're looking to see what's the problems are so we can solve it now. We got 7,100 people. We're not going to have them standing around on day one to figure out what went wrong.
Right.
This is what it was for. So what they found out was, if you work on a 69, always take the knobs and the nuts off your radio and the dash, the air conditioner, and pull it out and leave that in there. And that plastic is not going to take the stress of that radio coming out.
Right.
So we figured out we had to put the radio in after the dash was in. That took care of that. So when he ran through, when we finally got him, they crushed him. The serial numbers and trim plates were regulated by the federal government. And when the job went up, we went into a building, glass, and you were real quick, don't go nowhere near that. It's federal government, federal control. Believe me, I never did. Me being a young guy, I used to adventure all through the plant. I used to come in early and stay late and do it. It's just amazing. I always, with a convertible guy, I always went over to watch him put the convertible tops on. It's just amazing to see it.
Yeah, man.
Any other questions? I love to take questions. If anybody sees me walking away, you got a question, let me know.
Yeah.
What year would you consider the best out of the late 60s or early 70s?
I think the 69 when the GTO with John DeLore came, his plan about building excitement in cars. And he built it, and he hooked you, so to speak. Paint was going to cost you the same amount per gallon no matter what, so he runs the flashy colors. The stripes, the paper, that ain't going to be much, so let's take his beauty range. And I'll tell you, people talk about the 68 Chevelles that had the velour interior. Maybe I think we did 201 of them. And what I want to tell you was, we were trying to make John DeLore happy and feel great about the Baltimore plant. So we wanted to get a response of what this velour interior was going to be like in America. Well, number one, we didn't have to do anything in America because we could sell and build as many as we want. So when they ran it through John DeLore and showed him in the response, he said, oh man, this is not what I want. We got to give and we got to take. So give and take. So someone came up with the idea, okay, let's do that to the station wagon. Let's call it the green wire, whatever they call it. So that's how the blue interior came out of our mistake. Built the station wagon, a fancy station wagon. Price went up a little bit. Everybody was happy, and it was another model. So, the Canadian people always talk about it. And they think it was a mistake. They think we had the riots, which we did in '68. That had nothing to do with it.
Top of that, right.
Oh, we never ran out. If we ran out of a seat cushion, we didn't have it. We built it down. We put a wooden box in it. You set the box, you drove it over the line and built it.
Yeah.
When the material came in, we worked overtime and put it right away. Let's talk about model change. 3 weeks before model change, you come around with your Benz. If it was going to be used on the next model, they didn't do nothing. If it was going to go obsolete, he put NC, non-carryover. So when the last job came, it was very exciting to see this line in. To me it was. And to see the first job come when we came back. So after the last job, it was up to you to take your Benz NC, non-carryover, and put it out in the yard. The highway drivers would come by, take that, and dump it in the gondolas. We had 3 railroads that came through the plant, one on each end, one down the middle. They didn't dump that non-carryover stuff. Scrap metal went in the flatbed box cars. The yellow seats, cushions and stuff like that was non-carryover. That went out back, they put them in flatbed tractor trailers with signs on. That went to New York. It's called fluff. Anything that could be bounced went to New York. So you see here people say, well, they didn't have it, so they used the last model. Couldn't happen, it was gourmet, that stuff was gourmet. We had 5-6 weeks, we had to clean everything out. So, and you know, a lot of people are misconcepting, and it sounds like a great story, but
Yeah, right.
it's not going to happen.
How about glass?
Glass? No, well, if it works out, every year we see. Engine,
Well, no,
if
I
it
was
wasn't,
saying, my son, the El Camino, it's the one on the Baltimore. It's got a 69 window on one side.
that's very
It's a BB2. The rest of it's really old school.
well, evidently what happened was that they reshipped it back or they overbuilt, they saved it and stuck it in on you.
I didn't even realize it.
Yeah, that's what happened. It wasn't done at the Baltimore plant. It was overbuilt at the manufacturer and they stuck it on GM. We never checked dates, we never checked nothing.
It's important.
Oh,
Yeah. That's cool.
And a lot of people say some of the judges or knocking your car down for stuff that they said was changed. And if it was MVSS, Motor Vehicle Safety Standard Act, it came off, and it gone away, and the new one started. If it was a grill emblem, because the guy up at a car show, he had a Buick, and he was telling me, emblem, I bought this car new, and I know that emblem was on there. Yeah, I know it was too. I said, here's what happened. It's not an MVSS item. So when you got down to 10 or 15 items, we dumped the new ones on top. A month later, when he gets down, pick up the old one out. No foul. But the judge knocked it down. That was an okay player that knocked it down. He tried to get the judge to come over and talk, and the judge wouldn't.
Yeah, I can't put throwing stuff out for you to the next car.
Yeah.
We'll use it. Let's throw it
Well,
out.
see, we had to throw it out because it wasn't in the boxes or nothing for the dealer. So it wasn't labeled enough. You hear these guys have got brake lines, they got all these stickers on. Let me tell you something. If all those stickers put on that brake line, John Doyle would have been, he'd have dropped the hammer on all of us. But the brake lines came tied up 50 to a bundle. Paper tag on with the part number. When the material guy took it, he put it in. Put the rack, they all went to the same rack. He knew where it was. Please, don't take a wrong inside. You had the wrong guy, it's not going to fit. So all those tags and all, I know John DeLone's flipping when you're saying that was.